I mean, the hardest moments were when you'd go into the ward and the kid's not there anymore.
Sometimes you see difficult, very, very difficult moments.
I work on one very clear, ridiculous, fairy assumption. If the child is no longer in hospital, they went home.
I mean, I can see a parade at the moment of the children that I have clowned with.
Dr. Klown is basically based on like 3 pillars. There is the steer committee, there is the support group, and there is the bouncing, bubbly bunch of clowns.
Clown doctors are people from all walks of life. We have 2 or 3 nurses, a chief executive officer of an organization.
You know, a lot of people think Dr. Klown is made up of doctors, medical doctors. I'm proud to say that we have medical doctors who are clowns, but we also have electricians, plumbers, teachers.
Dr. Klown is a voluntary organization, and we provide moments of relief for children in hospital. So there's a lot of pain, pain for the kids, pain for the parents, the relatives, etc. And our role is to plant that moment of laughter, of relaxation, of a situation that is very hard to come by.
Oh, if I could, I would be a clown every day. I'd work as a clown. Clowning is a lovely thing to do.
Somebody in a lab coat with funny characters all over it, I mean, it just brings joy. It's wonderful. What they're doing is super.
My name is Manuel Catania. My day job, I work in iGaming, in payments and verifications.
And do people at work know you're a clown?
Most of them. My clown name is Dr. Funny.
This is for synchro on the cameras.
Okay, I thought you were clapping for us already. My name is Mandy, and my clown name is Dr. Uh-oh.
My name is Maria. My clown name is Dr. Oopsie.
Mario. Clown name is Dr. Buttons.
It was tough to choose a name, actually. Yeah, it was a bit tough.
We're very clumsy, you know, so we...
Yes, and the fact that it's also our character. I mean, I am bumping into things and dropping things, so kind of it fell into place.
My idea was to include some reggae. Basically, I was going to be Dr. Reggae, but then we made a joke out of it, so it changed to Dr. Funny.
We all seem to have either a phone next to us, or a remote for the car, or a remote for the video. Whatever we're doing, it's all buttons. I am buttons. Press a button and I'll act.
I started Dr. Klown as a clown myself 10 years ago, and basically moved on slowly, that I am now the vice president. There were two JPs, JP Fabri and JP Bozotil, and they came together and were seeing what's happening in Europe and basically decided, you know, Malta should have clown doctors entering the hospital too. So they came up with this idea and got a group of people together who launched Dr. Klown.
I was living in Italy, I was studying, I came back and I had attended over there a conference by Patch Adams himself, the actual Dr. Klown.
And I was influenced a lot by the film Patch Adams, and I always thought that was a brilliant thing to do.
I saw an advert somewhere that they're going to start this here in Malta.
My husband was a nursing aide working in the children's wards also. I had this dream of dressing up as a clown and, you know, going around the children just to make them smile. He had seen the film of Patch Adams and he was inspired by that. And I saw it too, and what that guy did was amazing.
Then what we did is we started having meetings with the administration, and I think one of the things that really helped was the vetting. And then there was the big issue, should this be voluntary or should people pay for it? And we always stuck to the idea that this is voluntary. If you look around, especially in Europe and in America, there are what we call professional clowns who are paid by the hour to go and clown in hospitals. We are one of the few left NGOs that basically no one, including myself, makes 1 cent from this project. Once we did that, then we went a step further and I said, you know, I don't want this just to be anyone can be a clown. We need to make sure we choose the right people for this job.
We received a folder from a neighbor downstairs inviting people to become clowns. So we said, let's do this. And we went to the first meeting where there was about 30, 40 people interested to become a clown doctor.
First I interviewed the individuals. We had some workshops, training. In 2010, that was all. Today, it has evolved much, much more. It has become more professional.
I always wanted to be a clown and a lawyer. My father, who I simply adored, was a lawyer, but he was a virtual clown as well. And one fine day I came across this Dr. Klown. I applied, and then there was some silence.
We had quite a few kind of tests we had to pass through before we actually started the training. There were 3 psychologists and we had to fill in that questionnaire.
They have interviews, so they have to answer about 300 questions with me and assessments and a whole profile interview.
Where they could assess our character and whether we can do this.
And then I caught the examiner asking us about 15 or 10 questions down the same question to see how consistent we are. Clown stuff is serious here.
And finally I got an email saying, please attend a selection.
We go through a very, very thorough process of identifying which ones make good clown doctors. We usually get it right. There's a very, very thorough filtering process.
And if they make it, if they fit the bill, then they start the training.
We filled their bag of tricks, you know, so we'd give them magic workshops, juggling workshops,
puppetry,
artistic skills,
physicality workshops.
Psychologically, we were prepared as well for it.
Oh, she's talking for herself. I have no skills.
Don't put yourself down.
No, I'm not putting myself down, but it's my face and my facial expressions that seem to be the comedy. They tried to teach us how to juggle. So there was everyone really getting it. And I go and I throw 1, 2, I'm running. Next thing I'm doing, I'm on the floor, hands and knees, trying to catch the balls. I'm like mess, called magic tricks. Nothing sticks. And then the trainer was just sitting there laughing at me. And then he told me, don't get it. Now, at this point, I'm telling you, stop learning because you're so funny getting it wrong that it will be a shame if you get it right at this point. So then I was like, thank God.
I always tell them treat the nose with respect. So once they put the nose on, you start noticing that they want to become this clown and they have their conceptions of being a clown.
And the training is not only artistic training. There's a lot of emphasis on the care clown, that you're there not to entertain, but to show that you care. You're there to care.
Well, once a child comes into our ward, that child has to be sick. Okay, so and there is a lot of stress around. So the child is sick, is poorly. The parents would be worried. We try and reduce that with our demeanor and our conversations with them, but there would still be that tension around.
The children here are passing through difficult times. They're in hospital because they're unwell, separated from their siblings, from their families.
He was in the hospital and they just came knocking on the door, and they were all in costume, and
pretty random, wasn't it?
It was pretty random, and I was like, wow, this is really cool, because it's not very nice to be in the hospital, and it brought a smile to his face. And
children are getting treatment, there are needles, there are unpleasant things.
When you don't deal with these things with softer things, the trauma, and I will speak from our experience, the trauma builds up.
You're there for the child, and that is the most important thing. So you want to give the child a fantasy world for a few minutes in that horrid circumstance of the hospital and whatever they are passing through.
A child had been in a coma-like state for 6 weeks, and the parents, of course, they tried to get contact with, you can imagine, nothing. There's a clown comes in, after 5 minutes, the child starts reacting, not talking and laughing and whatever, but
reacting.
There was alive again. For the parents, they started crying you can imagine. Eh?
So I was in the hospital, and I'm always sad when I am in the hospital and IV drip was pumping and all that thing. And then one of these doctors came in, and I said, "Hello, I'm Dr. Musical, and today I'm going to make some music with you." And then he was saying, Old MacDonald had a farm, but instead of animals, it was our names.
They make sense. In a children's world, they really make sense. In fact, recently we've introduced also a prescription booklet for doctors to actually prescribe a Dr. Klown session.
There was a child very in pain and sick and nervous, and the doctor told the nurse, start with aspirin. If that doesn't work, give it Panadol. If that doesn't work, send in a clown. And problem solved.
The parent told one of our clown doctors that the child has not smiled for 3 months. And suddenly our clown doctors are there, and they made a difference.
Seeing him smile and laugh and forgetting the fact that he was scared, even if it was just for 10 minutes, it was wonderful.
It made me feel like the people were there for me, and it helped me a lot.
It's like a little pocket of joy that they come into your room, they share this little pocket of joy, then they leave, but you're left with it.
Being a clown is not just about laughter, but it's also about going there on an odd day and not finding the client there. And the next thing you know is the child has passed away.
I mean, the hardest moments were when you'd go into the ward and the kid's not there anymore. And I mean, you ask why, but...
I mean, I've had various experiences, even with children that were at the very end, in the very last hours or minutes. I mean, I can remember one particular child, the squeeze from his hand, I can still feel it.
I only need to know from the nurses the very bare minimum to allow me to be able to do what my job is. So he mustn't get out of bed or don't touch his left arm, all of that is fine. I need to know all of that, but I don't want to know anything beyond that. So don't tell me what the child has. I don't want to know anything about it. And I work on one very clear, ridiculous, fairy assumption. If the child is no longer in hospital, they went home.
the choir, where one of our daughters is a member, put up a concert to raise funds for Dr. Klown. And we were there as clowns welcoming the guests. When everybody was in, there was a woman at the back who came on to me and she said, "You're not recognizing me. I am mother."
A little girl who has been treated for a cancer. So she has been in hospital in Malta. She has seen the clowns. She went to London for treatment, came back like as recovered, went home, got sick again, hospital first, London again.
"Oh, hi," I said. She said, "Yes, she's gone."
And in the end,
passed away. Passed away, yeah.
Yeah. Now seeing that child running in the corridors of the hospital, laughing her head off, that's fantastic.
But the clowns, eh? That was...
She's not there anymore, but she really had a good time.
Yeah, and her mum was so happy.
And her mum was so happy, yes.
And I'm speechless. For that mother to have had the guts to come to that event, to say thank you, it must have meant a lot to her and her daughter.
I know they have their lives, they have their jobs. A lot of them work in the hospital. What they're doing is over and above what any human being should do for someone else. So I ninżalhom il-kappell because what they're doing is super, and I am really grateful for their presence.
Clowns are human, and we never stop thinking of that. And the secondary trauma, which is when you work around trauma, you end up taking in a bit. And we can't forget that each clown also has their own personal story, has their own life. So we've had to also, sort of sometimes hang the boots, what's the actual expression? Our clowns will come back and tell us, listen, I need a break, I need a sabbatical. And they have an open relationship with us that we even offer them free therapy.
So when a moment like that happens, how do you go back to being Dr. Klown next week or the week after?
You don't go the next week or the day after, you continue. It was one particular visit. There are other children, you can't let them down. They know the clown is there.
The number one rule we said we have to do with clowns and with our work is if we promise them that we're going, we're going. So that's our philosophy, because you never promise a child something and take it away from them.
I love them, I miss them. Since COVID happened, they've not been so present in the world.
This year has been extremely tough. COVID kicked in and the game changed for us. We totally didn't know where to start from, but we still wanted to clown, and this is where we created even this virtual clowning.
When COVID first hit, and obviously clowning became something we could definitely not do at hospital, for a while it sort of stopped, and then they came up with the idea of doing it virtually.
Our clown doctors couldn't go to hospital, and we had to shift our clowning to online clowning, which we've done, but obviously it's not the same thing. It was a painful process.
We started with the virtual clowning from home, but one of the difficulties that we were expressing to the steering committee was the difficulty of being in your own home, in your own environment, not feeling like a clown.
So we are at the Marriott.
We're currently at the Marriott
Hotel.
and this is our clown room.
So I got in touch because I knew that they had this virtual thing. And then say, okay, these are the time slots we have, which one is convenient? And then you pick a time slot, you connect. We connected via Zoom. They were playing, remember? You were playing like games and drawing, the picture games and guessing, and then they managed. You also have to say, like, these are people who are taking time out of their day just to sit with your child.
I want them to come back because the joy they bring is enormous.
the clown doctors are going through a period where they're not clowning as regularly as they used to. And we're all looking forward for the pandemic to be behind us so that we can go back to hospital and do what we do. Each organization has people who have to run different roles. So the clown doctors have a particular skill set, and then we have a number of volunteers who have a different type of skill set.
The support group is a group of dedicated volunteers who work more behind the scenes. They're not in the spotlights like the clown doctors are. But they are, I would dare to say, essential for the running of the operations of the NGO. Planning the visits for the clown doctors to visit a hospital, the training or the major events that we have post-COVID, hopefully again. Potential sponsors, seeing to the social media, advertising, it is answering to emails, it is endless.
And then there's a board. And again, the board is made up of people who will not necessarily make good clown doctors, of course. I'm probably one of them. I would not make a good clown doctor. But you need people who can run an organization. So an organization with operations, with HR, with IT, with strategy, all of that is critical to run an organization of approximately 50 people.
I think that yes, we should consider having professionally trained performers who would have a job as clown doctors, because it's been scientifically proven that it works.
We have contact with other clown organizations, and they have other problems. Their clowns, professional clowns, then get sick, get married, have children, don't show up, do the job like they're not interested anymore because they go every single day, 4 hours. And then it becomes a draining job.
In long term, our NGO, even our current rules allow us to expand our services, to cover also the aged, for example.
I remember there was Father Peter Sorochironglot, who was sick. He was in hospital at the time. He loved clowns. He believed, he used to say Jesus Christ was a clown. And I went in and I started clowning in front of Father Peter. And I was expecting him to be like, oh, a clown. And he started crying. He was really scared. So I kept clowning, and I was shocked as a clown, and then eventually started smiling and laughing. And that was how I became the first clown.
I think it's important that wherever there are NGOs, voluntary organizations, operating, whether it's in hospital, whether it's with kids, whether it's with medical situations, it's important that we all feel an obligation to support, to understand, and to be part of it, even at a distance, but be part of it.
I think there are two qualities really out there that have really proven over the years with my clients to make them better. And the first one is exercise, and the second one is laughter. You know, I think laughter is just so infectious. The fact that if I burst out laughing, there's a chance I'll get you to laugh, and then every single other person in this room, and we just start laughing too. So it's free, you know, it's fun, and if you can have a good laugh, I think that's the way forward.
There's nothing better in the world than laughing.
Just as important as the medication prescribed by the real doctors.
Happy 10 years. Amazing work. Please, I'm so happy to know you, and keep it up.
Thank you, Dr. Klown, so much. I hope you stay in the hospital till the world ends. Literally, you are the best team ever. And you know what they say, laughter is the best medicine.